Hey, what's up? This is Martin G, and thanks for checking out my vector tutorial. I'm just going to draw stuff and think out loud, improvise this. You can follow along with the keystrokes down at the bottom here. And let's just draw a baby Yoda. Use the L tool. This is the oval ellipse tool. Make some shapes. With the pen tool, I'm just going to click around here. Oh, he's so cute. And then with the L tool again, I'm going to hold the shift key and to get a perfect circle. Let's give him these brown. Let's go with black. And when you hold the option key, you can drag and duplicate. And if you hold shift, it'll move it over horizontally or vertically. And there's your baby Yoda face, basically. When I first started using Illustrator, I was I kept everything very geometric. And now I'm a little bit looser now. I'm trying to keep things graphic, push the anatomy, whatnot, you know? So this is what I did for Vulture. Some baby Yodas when Disney did not allow the GIFs to be used. So this is my work now, and I'm gonna come over and steal these shapes here, and go back here. So this is what I do when I have 12 baby Yodas. This is my color palette. So this is like its skin, and these are my swatches for different things. So if I draw a square here, that's his little sack. And when I draw shadows, I just draw more shapes on top of shapes. And here's like his ear, and I'll use the eyedropper tool and click on this, and you get a darker shade. And how I built this is I'm just using multiply on a certain, like 20%, to give it the shadow. So also another thing too to know about vector art is you don't have to do everything in one piece. You have to think of things as like Lego. You build it piece by piece, and you could move it to the top, move it to the front, move it to the back, depending on what you need it to do. So for example, this shadow is for this ear, and I'm going to select it and select this ear and send it to the back with Command Shift left bracket. And there you go. So that here you have this shadows behind the head, which gives it depth. I'm just going to do Command C, copy. And in Illustrator, when you hit Command F, it pastes the object exactly where you took it from. So do you see now there's two of these. And then I am going to Command Z, and then use the eyedropper tool and get this shadow. And if you realize now it's still in the front of the face, I'm going to send it to the back. Let's just give him a nose. So instead of being very geometric, my current style is basically kind of more how I draw, a little more freeform. So here I'm going to use the pen tool. Just draw a baby Yoda shape head. Whoops, that's a little too, that's weird. That's a little awkward. So what I like about vector art so much, and again Lego, you could just keep building and then take it apart and keep revising. So I think this is also a reflection of my personality. I can't leave things alone. I'm always tweaking it. I'm always asking myself, how do I make it better? It has these almond-shaped eyes. They're huge. And there's a science to cuteness too. If you look at babies and kittens, they all have like really big eyes. And if you look at baby Yoda, it's just everything is cute. It's ridiculous. Let's make this black and give it some highlights for its eyes. I'll make this white. When you're working with a client or an art director, you have to ask them how are they going to use it. For example, if I was to give this illustration to somebody, and are you going to put it over a color, put it over a shape? You have to think about those things. So, for example, if this is the background, I want to make sure things work out right. Now here's a face. Let's just make this blue. It looks kind of mean here, so let me make these eyes a little bit friendlier. Okay, so you have a face here, and I am going to give it a mouth. And I'm going to make it white. So the thing about vector art, you just kind of layer things on top of each other. So here's some eyes. And if this illustration was being used over a white background, no big deal. Everything's fine. If I was the designer, wanted to put it over a shape, then you see how I put this together, or how I made the mouth. So what you can do, select both of these objects and go to the Pathfinder, and you can, or shape mode, and minus front. And there, now you can have things go over an object and have it, and it'll be no problem. You can use this shape mode again. Now if you hold Option, the Pathfinder still works. The minus happened, but the thing is, this shape now is still live, I guess. It's still intact. So you can move this thing around as much as you want. So if I decide to make this person sad, it's not a problem. So there's a sad face. Okay, so let me get this out of the way. Let's go back to Baby Yoda. So let's just draw some ears. And when you're drawing shapes, it retains the last thing you just did. So I was just using red, or I clicked on a red object, and anything new is also red. So use the eyedropper, do that. So if you hold Option Drag, you can duplicate an object, hit V to reshape, and flip it over and give another ear. But the thing is, what I look for as an illustrator is if you copy and paste something, and why duplicate it when you could just draw it again? And it gives it a little bit more variety. Man, how did Bob Ross do this? I'm just like talking to myself while I work. It's kind of weird. Send it back. So let's give him a nose. Yeah, he has a cute little mouth. Boop. So there you go, there's Baby Yoda. So my current style is just drawing shapes using flat color. One of my little secrets is when I work on stuff, I allow myself one gradient. It kind of makes a certain thing stand out. It gives it a little more emphasis. And if I do a eyedropper, there's this little guy. He's so cute. I can't believe it. I can't stand it. And here's his little sack body. So, and then when I worked on the coloring book for Vulture, let me see, where is it? I had to think it in a different way. So this is what all the lines look like. It's pretty simple still, but I had to think differently. I had to think, what would a kid like to color? And when you're drawing in a coloring book style, I basically used shapes with a white fill and a thick black outline. I went like 7 point, 5 point. So when in this style, I had to draw in a different way and kind of think in a different way too. So here you have the baby Yoda head. You draw the ears. So I just block things in. You see how things start to take form, take shape. So I just block things in, and then later I go in and send things to the back. Or I bring this to the front, and I add eyes. So it's still drawing, and I think it's just to think again where how is this going to be used? What's the purpose, or what's the main goal? And for something like this, I would take out a chunk of this outline to kind of give it more depth, to give it connection, to give it some volume, having overlapped and shadows. So for this, I would use a thinner line. And let's just go here. Oops. Make it like 2 point to give different emphasis. You know, like when something is closer to you, it's going to have a thicker outline. When something is further away from you, it's going to have a thinner outline. So you have to think about that with details and depth. So, and going back to the solid color Baby Yodas, let's see, I give shadows, I would draw a shape like this. And from my color palette, I have this black that is a lighter shade and set on multiply. So this is how I create my shadows. Now to be more flexible, you don't have to draw it exactly where the shadow is. I mean, that's just not inaccurate, but more like kind of like a pain in the ass. So the best thing to do is to draw the shadow along the shape below, and for his cowl, I would just bring it to the front. So when I'm working, I can just move things around and not worry about readjusting the shadow. So for example, if I drew it perfectly here, and I decide to move this around, I would have to do this again. Make your life easier by being flexible and by being, you gotta think ahead a few steps. So this Baby Yoda, I tell you, I'm just gonna draw. Man, this is like Bob Ross level talking to myself. So when you have an object over something, you would have to send it to the back, because I want the highlights of the eyes to pop out still. So Command Shift left bracket to send things to the back, or just Command bracket to send it back one step at a time. So eventually it will find it. There you go. So there's your Baby Yodas. And he's so cute. Keep drawing. So I guess that's pretty much it for now. I mean, I think if you have any suggestions, comments, questions, any requests, let me know, and I'll see what I can do. Cool. Hey, thanks for listening, and thanks for checking out Baby Yoda tutorials with me, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks. Bye.